and welcome to Let's Just Do This, the place where we bring change makers to the table to help educate, empower, and inspire you to live well and become the CEO of your own health. My name's Margaret Wallis-Duffy, and I'm always happy to have my handsome co-host next to me, Mr. Todd Miller.
Excited as always. I'm vibrating because I'm really looking forward to this segment.
Okay, so
Yeah.
You think you're looking forward to this episode. I am vibrating literally in the studio today. And you know, I have to say, I get excited about every guest that comes on Let's Just Do This. But I got to tell you a little secret. For many years, I have been watching this incredibly fabulous woman be so passionate in everything that she does. I've taken many of her courses. I've watched her career blossom. And I finally got the guts to actually, we've been connected in social media. I actually picked up the phone, ladies and gentlemen, and I simply said, let's just do this. Will you come on my podcast? And guess what? The one and only Crystal Andrus Morissette said yes. And she is in studio with us today. Now, for those of you that don't know who she is, which I would find hard to believe.
I'm sure there are many.
Well, you know, you're pretty big in my world, and I have such massive respect. So I want to first welcome you to the studio and to Let's Just Do This.
My pleasure.
I'm going to read a very short bio because her bio is massive and an impressive woman she is. And put on your seatbelts because the next half hour is going to be inspiring, a lot of fun, and certainly empowering because that's what this woman does. She empowers people, and especially women. International best-selling author, emotional age and communication expert, and women's advocate, Crystal Andrus Morissette is empowering women all over the world with her S.W.A.T Institute programs and her book, The Emotional Edge. Crystal, what inspired you to make women's empowerment your focus? It's a loaded question, but welcome.
Thank you. It was a great kickoff question. I think we teach what we need to learn. And I think each one of us have gone through things in our lives. And when you find your way out, I think it was Maya Angelou that said, when you learn, you teach. And I had a very turbulent teenage life. I moved out at 15. My mother was so empowered in some ways and so disempowered in other ways. And she was a feminist, but she was also very identified with her sexuality. So I wanted to first and foremost empower my mom. I wanted my mom to be more empowered. Then I realized that she would just get frustrated with me because I was trying to be so empowered because, you know, no one wants your daughter to coach you. No. So I, at that point, started realizing, okay, I just need to focus on empowering me. And then my two little girls came along, and I got to tell you, in my mid-20s, to give birth to these two precious little girls, and I knew they were looking at me the way I looked at my mom, and that I needed to be the woman I needed my mom to be.
Wow.
And that's really, in truth, what started this, and then it just kept growing, and it got bigger, and I just got so excited about it. And then bringing more women, I'm watching women blossom. Then it became like supercharging for me, not just for me to be empowered, but to like watch these other women's lives turn around. It was like juice in my engine all the time. And now it's taken on a life of its own in a sense, but it supercharges me. So I'm doing what I love.
I can see you getting so emotional when you're talking about your daughters.
Yeah.
It must be incredibly hard for women to have daughters and sons because it crosses over now with kids. I mean, just teaching them to be great people and to not be limited by their sex.
Yeah. And well, that's it too. I think I knew 20 years ago whether I certainly couldn't have willed this into being, because I often used to say, did I will everything into my life or did I see it before it happened? Because I would see things and then I would make them happen. So for many years I always thought, oh, I can just will anything into being. If I want this badly enough, where there's a will, there's a way. But then I knew, even my very first book that I wrote called Simply Woman, that would have been in 2004. It got picked up by Louise Hay.
Yes.
Hay House Publishing. That would have been 2004, and I was already talking about that Simply Woman. I trademarked it, and I knew, and that it turned into Simply Woman Accredited Trainer, our institute that's in 45 countries now, empowering women. But I knew that a movement was coming. I could have predicted the hashtag Me Too movement 20 years ago.
You know, it's funny that you brought that up because it's exactly, I thought of you when all of this movement with Me Too was happening. I immediately thought of you, and I've been watching and learning from you and taking your courses through the S.W.A.T Institute for years, and I'm about to take another amazing course, which I'm so excited about very soon. But what I love about the way you do this, Crystal, is that you're so real and authentic, but sometimes also real in a way that people need to hear it. And
I give the goods.
You do.
Give
the goods. And where do you think that came from in you? Where did that come from?
I'm going to tell you. It's going to shock you again. My poor family.
Well,
okay,
This is where they go for a snack.
This is when they're like, I say to funny enough, my kids are in their 20s now, and I say to my daughters, do we have to sort anything out? Like, is there any anger? Do you got any unresolved issues? Like, are you going to write a book about me when you turn 30? Can we do it in private? I didn't get the opportunity to sort that stuff out in private in the family I grew up in. And I think here's the truth, our deepest fear, Marianne Williamson is going to say our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, it's that we're powerful beyond measure. Probably true. Yes. However, another deep fear that we have as human beings is being ostracized from our tribe. Mm-hmm. That's why we're afraid to even put a post on Facebook, because we live in a world now where it's like, unfriend, delete, block.
Yep.
And I came from a family that had so much pride and dignity, and we're so amazing in so many ways. But man, if you crossed those boundaries in any way, if you yelled at your parents, you might be kicked out. So in truth, I broke all the rules all the time and was always ostracized anyways. So I, at a certain point, figured I might as well just live my greatest life, because living my life trying to make everybody happy so I don't say the wrong thing and I don't do it wrong, and now somebody's mad at me again because I shared too much. Well, this is my life. I'm only sharing my truth. And it just empowers other women. So as a coach, I don't weigh in if you don't ask my opinion. That's not my business. So if I'm at a family get-together and I completely disagree, that's not my business. But if you're paying me for my opinion, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's where I got that from.
You know, as a mother of a 17-year-old beautiful daughter, living in a world that you just described on social media and being so fearful of what everybody else thinks of her. And my beautiful daughter is so perfectly unique, but often wants to be like everyone else, because that's what we do when we're 17.
Yeah.
We find our tribe.
But we also have it way worse now, because what I explained to my daughters is when I was in high school, if a boy liked you, he actually had to have the courage to come up to you and ask you for your phone number.
Yes.
And then he had to call you, and you're in the kitchen on your phone that's connected to and your parents are
hopefully
there.
Dad didn't answer the phone.
Right. Like, there was no false courage. We didn't have the same false courage that now.
So true.
Like, you can have all these haters and trolls that hide behind their computers. So I knew that, and I already went through all that. So I was able to say to my daughters, number one, I have gotten to the point now that I will snap a selfie and put it on, and I don't do filters and I don't do any of that, just to be real. Because some of my pictures are gorgeous.
Yes.
And I want to put them up. And some of my pictures are just me in my realness, and I want to put those up.
Absolutely.
Because I think women connect with me because they're like, yeah, she can be fabulous. And she really shows herself when she's not so fabulous too, because that's real. Absolutely. So I say to my daughters, most people take 100 selfies before they put one up. So you're comparing your worst day to their best day.
Yes.
So once you get that in your head, then you never compare anymore.
Yes.
And I also taught my daughters when they were young, imagine if only the rose was beautiful. Then, like, the daffodils aren't beautiful and the irises aren't beautiful. So I just really said to them, honestly, girls, and I never let them think, I would say, you're breathtakingly beautiful, but there are billions
of beautiful people.
Of breathtakingly beautiful people.
Absolutely.
Get your head around it now.
Exactly.
Yep.
One doesn't take. If somebody's got a great singing voice, somebody else can have a great singing voice, doesn't take from her, nor does beauty.
Exactly.
Or success, or talent. It never takes from you. Yes. So collaborate with the greatest people in the world, and you'll only up your own game.
Oh, and I love that. And get out of your own way, as you know, you decided that this is me. This is who I am, and it's my life.
Yeah.
which is what's so empowering. I want to talk, because this is really quite something, and for all of our listeners and viewers out there, this incredible woman's book has been featured on Oprah. Her quiz is at oprah.com, and it's all talking about this incredible book, The Emotional Edge. Can you tell us about what this book is, why it came about, and oh my goodness, it got on Oprah.
I know.
How incredible is that?
I know. Don't we all think, like, if Oprah just said, if your name is connected to Oprah, the fairy dust will sprinkle down on you and your life will never be the same? Well, that's not even true either, just so you know.
Yeah.
You have to take each one of those opportunities when they come your way as a springboard.
Yes.
Then you got to work it. So I can get myself on any TV show now because I can say, well, I've been featured on Oprah. So then they're like, oh, come on, and she must be a good guest. So that's the great thing about that. But you still got to work it. You still got to go to those places. You still got to follow up. You still got to have a publicist. You still got to have. But anyways, so the Emotional Edge came about because I'm going to go so far as to say, other than my husband, all women.
Right.
So I'm literally not around men.
Right.
And I work from home. So you got to imagine, most of the time I'm schlepping around in my pajamas without any makeup on, and I'm certainly not feeling glamorous. But so I work with a lot of women, and because our school's in 45 countries, I don't want to stumble on my words too much. Because we're in 45 countries, a lot of our work, almost all of our work, is done online, on telephones. We're connecting people from all over the world. So when it first started with my own team, my own staff, just one day we're talking, and I was in a staff meeting, and I said, ladies, we all have an opportunity. We all have to really look at the way we're showing up in life. So your voice, you don't want it to sound like daughter energy, like a little cute, coy little girl. You don't want to be in mother, just the way it came out. You don't want to be in mother energy. You don't want to be like, if somebody wants to do a phone call with you and it's 3 a.m. your time, you say no, even if you can get a sale out of it. Because that's mother energy that would wake up at 3 in the morning to make a phone call to somebody.
Yes.
Show up in your woman energy. And everybody got quiet and went, I've never heard this before. What are you talking about? This is new. And I was like, is this new? And then everyone said, what does woman energy mean? And I was like, okay, so within all of us, even men, we all have a persona. We have 3 aspects to our personality. That's making it very easy. But in truth, the great psychologists all said that too.
Yes, indeed.
Right? Carl Jung said ego, shadow, collective unconscious. Freud said id, superego, ego. So I said, you have a dominant emotional archetype, you have a submissive, that's your ego and your shadow, and then you have this part of you that can transcend all of it, can heal. That's the part of you that isn't in the battle. And when you show up in that place, that's your woman energy. And everybody got really excited about it. So I said, like, for men, I'd be like, well, if you're in your father energy, or you're showing up like a parent, you're going to be a doormat dad. You're going to have a trophy wife, but you're going to get to a certain point where you think, oh my God, is she ever going to grow up? That's what you're going to create in your relationships. If you're a woman, the same thing. You'll feel like you're the mom to your husband. You'll feel like you have so much guilt parenting your children. Anyways, this is where it all came about. And everybody was like, oh, this is big, Crystal. You got to do something with this. Okay. So then I went to work.
Okay, so that's a great place to stop, because we have to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to dive in deeper to what is emotional age. What does that really mean? And we're even going to talk about a quiz that you can take to really figure out what archetype you're in.
That's it.
And exactly how you can change that. So stay tuned. There'll be more here on Let's Just Do This.
Welcome back to Let's Just Do This. I'm Todd Miller, along with Margaret Wallis-Duffy and our wonderful guest, Crystal Andrus Morissette. So you have this wonderful book called The Emotional Edge. And some people have said my emotional age is not quite where it should be. But can you tell us what emotional age is?
Yeah, quick. I'll try to do it as quick as possible.
Okay.
So we all have a chronological age.
Yeah.
I'm 48.
Yeah.
We all have a biological age. You probably teach a lot on biological age, in the sense that you could be 48 but biologically be 30. Exactly. Or be 48 and biologically be 60, depending on how you take care of yourself.
100%.
Emotional age is more the way that you're compromising, communicating, negotiating, showing up in your relationships. So you could be 20 years old and have the emotional age of a very old person. Some would say they're an old soul.
Okay.
Some might go, oh, that's an old soul. I don't use those terms in the book. Number one, because Random House doesn't like woo-woo. We're not talking old souls in this book.
Right.
Hay House was all over it. Hay House would be like, oh, old souls, young souls, energy. But when we got to Random House, they were like, let's not talk about energy, this daughter energy, mother energy, woman energy. Let's use terms like child, adult, parent.
Right.
More mainstream. So I went, okay, let's do that. And so emotional age is the age that you show up in life. And the truth is you can be 20 and show up like the most empowered woman, and you can be 70 and be the most empowered woman. So your emotional age is that of an adult.
I love that. And you know,
and you can be 70 and be showing up like a child.
I was just going to say, you could be 70, because I was going to say, I think I've also seen the reverse, a 70-year-old showing up like they might be 15.
All the time.
Yes.
And that's why we have conflict in our relationships.
Yes.
So not necessarily a good thing, thinking young or
No.
appearing young with your emotional age. It could
If
compromise.
you're too, because you can annihilate your relationships. You're a drama queen. Some of the emotional archetypes under the child would be the scared child, the addict, the drama queen, the rebellious teenager, the lone wolf. You know, when you go through life just being so afraid, that's a child archetype. The warrior, the charmer, the narcissist. This is all child energy. So you want a little bit of that in you, but you want it to be in balance with your parent energy, which would be your parent archetypes. We have fun with them, which is like the martyr and the rescuer and the perfectionist. You know, the worrywart, the micromanager, the busy bee.
Right.
These are the emotional archetypes. So for a lot of us, we might show up as here's a great one around weight loss.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just say you have a battle going on inside between your child and your parent. Let's say I have this charmer, and she is so sexy, and she's so beautiful, and she loves to take her clothes off.
Yep.
Well, now my chubby bubby over on my other side is mortified by my charmer. So my mother energy is like, put your clothes on. In fact, put 50 pounds on too, because you're just so naughty over there. So if you don't make peace and heal the split between your charmer and your chubby bubby, you may never lose weight because you're so afraid to be thin because you don't trust yourself. On the other hand, there are women who are so afraid to put on weight, like it would be the most horrible thing in the world. It's like, find balance in this. So this work actually allows us to make peace between your rebellious teenager and your Puritan. You know, how many people are like, they're either what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, and then they come home and they're just like, go to church every Sunday.
Very
and you're
black
like,
and white.
Yeah. So this is all about integrating all of the fragmented, buried parts of us that we've buried because we never want anyone to think we would be like that.
You know, I love what you're saying, and our work, and this is probably why I've been always so intrigued in watching and reading your work and following you. In the treatment rooms where I've had the honor of laying on of my hands on, thousands of people over 27 years.
Yes.
We've talked about it just on a recent episode of the show. The mind and body are connected. Our body is a house for our emotions.
100%.
And then when we start through the power of good, therapeutic, respectful touch.
Yes.
I have seen
Absolutely.
some jaw-dropping things in my clinic on my tables, whether it be a CEO of a company that we all know to the elite athlete on the pool deck of an Olympic trial. I'm giving you real life, or this 17-year-old that was pregnant out of wedlock because unfortunately she had a horrific rape that happened to her and in fact now is pregnant but didn't want anybody to know and was ostracized by her family because she dishonored their name.
Yeah.
So I've seen the fallout of that in the physical aspect of the body,
100%.
and then sometimes witnessed those aspects of that fragmented person come out on my tables.
Yeah.
So that's why I was so excited and got the courage to reach out to you to say, we need to connect, because a lot of the work that you're doing, I'm doing it too in a different way. And I was just going to say, and the reality is we all are.
Yes.
We all
That's why we're all needed.
Yes.
That's why one modality isn't the answer.
Yes.
It's all modalities. And that's what I love what you're bringing, Western and Eastern. You're bringing all of these, even in the medical community, you're really bridging the alternative with the traditional. And that's what's so beautiful, because it's all needed.
It is.
It's all needed. And we all bring a different spoke to the wheel. And if you can be doing sort of the emotional work that I'm offering, so to be able to say, So one of the interventions we would do in our program is like close your eyes and travel into your body and find the place that aches and hurts the most. Then we travel into the pain, and then we say, what would that pain be called if we could give it an emotion? Is it anger? Is it sorrow? And then we connect it even to an archetype. So then we can connect it to like, how old are you? Like in that pain, who is it connected to? Who is it about? It allows you to become an adult in your own body by either rescuing the little girl that still feels unsafe or giving permission to the old exhausted part of you, the mother, that's like, I need a holiday.
And rest.
Yeah.
You get to have rest, and you get to play, and and all of a sudden your body is freed. So imagine you doing hands-on healing.
Yeah.
At the same time that they're emotionally freeing. Oh my God, I have goosebumps all over my legs.
I hear you. And, you know, I've stood on stages and delivered keynotes and talked about my own health story. And what I know, and it's so simple, and you're just speaking exactly to this point, so many of us, this world, is living outside of our bodies.
Yeah, we live from the head up.
Exactly. And we are too scared to listen to what might go on down below until we get that diagnosis.
Until we have no choice but to
exactly.
listen.
Exactly. We get that diagnosis, or we go through a divorce.
And
or,
that's what I love about pain. Like
Yes.
people are so afraid of pain, and they're so afraid of the shadow, the fear, like discovering what's under there. Like, what if it's like it comes up and it's a huge tidal wave of emotions, and then I can't work for a week and I cry. Oh well. Like, thankfully, I've created a life where if I don't have that anymore because I've done the tidal wave is gone.
Right.
Once you've cleaned it out, then you just have to worry about little ripples every day.
Yeah,
and
that's
not letting
life.
the little ripples overtake you.
And that's life.
But for me to be pain-free, and just like you, isn't it interesting that women like us that do this work have, I moved out at 15, I had cervical cancer at 17, I had this traumatic head injury at 21, I had seizures from it, I lost my license, I have abnormal activity on my left temporal lobe. If I gave people the list of my ailments, I don't, because I'm pain-free now.
Right.
I'm pain-free. And when a pain comes up, I dialogue with it quickly, like, what's this about?
What's that
Who's this
telling
connected to? Why are you here? Even when people trigger you and really upset you, I look at those as like, oh, that's an amazing opportunity for you to do inner work to figure
What
out
a gift.
why do
Why
you
it
bug me
happened.
so much?
Yeah. Yes.
What is it about me
Yes.
that I'm in resistance to that you're showing me?
And I
So-
think that's with our young girls, and I think of my daughter, that's what I love about your work, is empowering those girls at that time
It's-
to
yes.
recognize this is a gift, and it's not always about me. It's
Yeah.
about what they're going through as well.
Yeah,
it's
and
so
wounded
important.
people wound people.
Yes, indeed.
It's better
Yes,
to do that
indeed.
work much younger than discover it later in life.
The problem
and have,
is we don't do the work when we're young.
Yes.
The truth is, you know what? We don't do the work because unfortunately what I try to do is like get to women before they hit, but I don't know, was it Tony Robbins that said we make change out of inspiration or desperation? Who knows? I don't know. But most of us do not reach that point until I'm even going to go so far to say it's like something happens in our 40s.
Yes.
For a lot of us, the 40s hit and you're like, I have aches and pains that I never had before. And I'm all of a sudden looking at my mortality and I'm feeling like I better do this work now. And if we can, for me to have women in my school that are in their 20s, I get supercharged. These women are becoming empowerment coaches. But I have women in their 70s who are signing up to become an empowerment coach. In their 70s.
I love it.
how cool is that?
Super.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, I knew this episode was going to fly by, and we only have a couple of minutes. So a couple of things that we have to make sure. Tell everybody about heading over to Oprah.com so they can take
Yes.
the quiz. Tell us about that.
So if you it's always great to be able to say, just go to www.oprah.com. I even say it like Oprah. Oprah, we're going to Australia. No, we're not. But if you go to oprah.com and pop in emotional age quiz, you can take the quiz. And here's what I'm going to tell everybody. If you all get C, that you're all in woman energy, you're all in the adult, you're not. You just have the wisdom to know the right answer because it's in you.
Nice.
So we all have access to the same information. That's what collective unconsciousness is.
Yes.
We all know the truth. We just don't always live it. So when you're taking the questions, tell yourself the truth. And if you get to the end and it says, you're in woman energy and your life is a mess, take it again and tell yourself the truth. If your life is in a great place, you probably are in woman energy. And that's how you let it, your life will always reflect back to you the truth of how you're showing up.
Wow. You know, there is so much more we have to talk about. And I have a funny feeling with the goosebumps I have from head to toe that this is an opportunity to link arms, like I said, with our Better Together movement.
Yes.
And to really help educate, empower, and inspire people to move forward through empowerment. And certainly the S.W.A.T. Institute is a place which they can do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking
Thank
the
you.
time and energy to
Thank
come
you.
and be in
Thank
our
you.
studio
Thank
and
you.
to share your story, your knowledge, your experience, and your absolute gift that you're giving the world. It's an absolute honor to be part of this, and I can't.
Namaste.
Oh, I can't thank Crystal enough because, you know, it's people like this, change makers in our world, that one person at a time, although she's in 40-something countries, touching one person at a time, as we do on this show with each guest. If you're sitting at home and you're struggling, you need to reach out. You need to reach out to us. You need to reach out to Crystal's website. You need to ask for help.
Yes.
Because that's what this journey is about. We are better together.
Yes.
And on that note, Todd Miller.
Simply Woman. Can I be part of it?
Sure.
Yes. Thank you.
We're going to do a SMAT soon.
A SMAT.
Simply
like
Man.
it.
Simply Man.
I'm only
I
kidding.
love
That's
it.
my husband's joke.
So on behalf of Todd Miller, myself, the entire team at Let's Just Do This and Your TV, thanks for joining us. And until next time, be well.